Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Maskani and today's lesson we'll be looking at the lesson 34 from the lesson 504 absolutely essential words. Let's make a start. The first word is candidate. Candidate means person who is proposed for some office or honor. Examples. Number 1. We can have a maximum of 4 candidates for the office or president. Number 2. Each candidate for mayor seemed confident he would be victorious. Number 3. Derek Jeter is a candidate for baseball's Hall of Fame. Precede. Precede means go before, or come before, or be higher in rank or importance. Examples. Number 1. Lyndon Johnson preceded Richard Nixon as president. Number 2. In a gallant gesture, Ronnie allowed Amanda's name to precede his in the program listing. Number 3. A prominent speaker preceded the ceremony of the granting of the diplomas. Adolescent. Adolescent means growing up to manhood or womanhood, or youthful, or a person from about 13 to 22 years of age. Examples. Number 1. In his adolescent years, the candidate claimed he had undergone many hardships. Number 2. There is a fiction abroad that every adolescent is opposed to tradition. Number 3. Our annual rock festival attracts thousands of adolescents. Co-educational. Co-educational means having to do with educating both sexes in the same school. Examples. Number 1. There has been a massive shift to co-educational schools. Number 2. Co-educational institutions, once thought to have a disruptive effect, have been found to be beneficial. Number 3. In choosing a college, it leans toward schools that are co-educational. Radical. Radical means going to the root, or fundamental, or extreme, or person with extreme opinions. Examples. Number 1. The tendency to be vicious and cruel is a radical fault. Number 2. We observe that the interest in radical views is beginning to subside. Number 3. Because Richard was a radical, the Conservative Party would not accept him as a candidate. Spontaneous. Spontaneous means of one's own free will, or natural, or on the spur of the moment, or without rehearsal. Number 1. The vast crowd burst into spontaneous cheering at the skillful play. Number 2. Be cautious with these oily rags because they can break out in a spontaneous flame. Number 3. William's spontaneous resentment at the mention of his sister was noted by the observant teacher. Scheme. Scheme means remove from the top, or move lightly, or glide along, or read hastily or carelessly. Examples. Number 1. This soup will be more nourishing if you skim off the fat. Number 2. I caught a glimpse of Mark and Marge skimming over the ice. Number 3. Detective Corby, assigned to the homicide, was skimming through the victim's book of addresses. Vaccinate. Vaccinate means inoculate with vaccine as a protection against smallpox or other diseases. Examples. Number 1. There has been a radical decline in polio since doctors began to vaccinate children with the Salk vaccine. Number 2. The general population has expected the need to vaccinate children against the once dreaded disease. Number 3. Numerous examples persist of people who have neglected to have their infants vaccinated. Examples. Number 1. The bachelor's quarters were most untidy. Number 2. We must start a cleanup campaign to keep the campus from being so untidy. Number 3. Finding the house in such an untidy condition baffled us. Utensil. Utensil means container or tool used for practical purposes. Examples. Number 1. Several utensils were untidily tossed about the kitchen. Number 2. Edward's baggage contained all the utensils he would need on the camping trip. Number 3. Some people are so old-fashioned that they reject the use of any modern utensil. Sensitive. Sensitive means receiving impressions readily, or easily affected or influenced, or easily hurt or offended. Examples. Number 1. The eye is sensitive to light. Number 2. From the experiment, we may conclude that mercury in a thermometer is sensitive to changes in temperature. Number 3. James is sensitive about his wrecked handwriting. Temperate. Temperate means not very hot and not very cold, or moderate. Examples. Number 1. The United States is mostly in the North Temperate Zone. Number 2. All students received the appeal to be temperate and not to jump the conclusions in judging the new grading system. Number 3. Mrs. Rollins commended her class for their temperate attitude when she announced the extra assignment. Words in use. A course for parents. A course entitled The Responsibilities of Parenthood sounds as if it should be offered to students who are immediate candidates for parenthood, not according to Dr. Lee Salk, who feels that teaching children about parenthood should precede the adolescent years. Dr. Salk of the New York Hospital teaches a volunteer coeducational class of junior high school youngsters what it means to be a parent. He does not lecture or present radical views. Rather, he conducts spontaneous discussions by encouraging students to imagine that they are parents and asking them such questions as, what would you do if you found your child smoking? Or, How would you prepare your child for the first day of school? The lessons skim over such topics as the lessons skim over such topics as they need to vaccinate children against diseases, or to teach them not to be untidy or to use utensils properly. The class is more concerned with preparing students emotionally to become better parents someday and with making children sensitive to the responsibility of parenthood. The class members often express temperate and mature views. One girl said she would not approve of having a nurse bring up her child. Another felt that money earned through babysitting or other jobs should be shared with parents. When asked how his students rate, Dr. Salk retained a hopeful outlook. They are ready for this information. He declared, I think they'll be honest parents. Well, that's great. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in the next session.